Hey Poke friends, Cosmic Eclipse pre-release has been going around for America now for the weekend, and there are a lot of goodies, a lot of cards, and I went to 3 release of a Cosmic Eclipse this weekend. I went to 1 on Saturday, and then 2 on Sunday, 1 Sunday morning and 1 Sunday afternoon. And I did some good pulls. I didn't do so many good pulls at the same time, but I want to go with you guys the cards that I did receive when I did go to the 3 pre-releases. Before we dive into this, make sure you like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments below what your thoughts about any of the cards along the way, or maybe a strategy that I should have used in a pre-release deck. Even though we both know these decks are very small niche, they even let us do 40 cards versus our traditional 60 cards, but I had fun. I did really enjoy battling with my local community in Pokemon TCG, and I wanted to share with you guys what I pulled, what I got, and my deck that I used. And with that said, let's get into it. Let's first start off with Saturday, and it was this deck. And inside it, I'm really trying to remember what it... Okay, so this is what I pulled. I pulled a Solgaleo and Lunala tag team. Like, that was a pretty good pull. Like, oh man. I also got a full shiny Gallade, and my promo card was the Acephalon. And I think that it was it for all my good pulls. Otherwise, you know, I got some reverse holos of Cosmog, the evolution of Apom. I'm losing a blank here. Pikachu, and let's see what else. I think that's pretty much it. And so my deck, when it came to battling, was actually, I am really glad that Piplup and Empoleon are making a comeback. So essentially, what you would be doing with this Piplup is place Piplup, and then you wait to evolve into Prinplup, and then you wait to evolve into Empoleon, and Empoleon uses Recall. So for 1 energy, any type, you can reference any of these attacks without using its energy or the energy needed for that attack, and then you can, you know, essentially do whatever you want. So you can attack for 80 and then a basic Pokemon can't attack next turn, or use a 20, or use direct dive, which is so broken. Essentially what you do is you discard all your energy and you do 100 attack to a bench Pokemon. And that was really how you would play at the pre-release. You would then get this, and then you would attack like their stage 1 or their basic Pokemon that was on the bench that had maybe 40 to up to 100. Like, there's a lot of Pokemon that at first stage it is 80 HP or 90 HP, but not like passing 100. So it was pretty cool. And yeah, that's essentially what I was doing a lot for this deck. Also, I did pull or open up 3 packs that I did receive after finishing the pre-release. And my pull was a reverse holo Heracross, a reverse holo Teddiursa, a reverse holo Vulpix, Alolan Vulpix, and then I got a super shiny Vileplume GX. Like, that was pretty awesome. And for tag teams, I did get Guzma and Hala, which I think that's a pretty interesting duo. Like, one's evil, one's our good guy, and they're like teaming up, like, very interesting. I also did get a tag team, Cynthia and Caitlyn, so that was pretty good to test out as well. And that essentially is what I got for my first pre-release box. And that was for Saturday. Okay, so going from Saturday pre-release of Cosmic Eclipse, we're gonna go with Sunday pre-release part 1. And this one was a good build for me, honestly. I won all 3 my battles when I was battling, and I really was like, I was so proud of myself. I was like, oh my god, like, yes, I wasn't like only winning once, because I would usually only win once in tournaments. So I was pretty excited. So essentially I pulled a very cool Venusaur and Snivy. I also did a holo of Azumarill, Lillipup, and Weezing. Also, I got Clefairy. And then my promo card was Bucephalon, and I did get a holo Rosa. And essentially what my deck was, so for this pre-releases deck strategy, what I did was I was trying to get Tepig to evolve into Emboar. And once you place Emboar, you can look at the top 8 cards that you have. And if those are energies, you just put them on any Pokemon any way you want. And I would either put it on Emboar, because by the time Emboar was in its like final stage, or Tepig would finally evolve into Emboar, I would then have a good, strong attacker. I would also then put it on my Snivy and Venusaur GX if it was not prized or by the time I put it out. So this card was this card definitely helped me get energy for this, if not both. And Sandshrew, Sandslash are such good Alolan Pokemon. So I love it when they're energyless, and Alolan Sandslash does not need energy to do damage. So essentially, once I evolved Sandshrew to Sandslash, I could just go ahead and attack and then flip to see if I can not be attacked next turn. So this card is essentially like Float Taz from the Imperial Command themed deck with Empoleon, but you don't need an energy at all. So this card is pretty cool, and it's like a really good basic card to put out. And let's say if you can't evolve Sandslash, Sandshrew's Runaround is still a switch per turn kind of move, and it's still good, but I prefer to use its ability once it evolves to Sandslash. So with this kind of like strategy deck, I then got 3 wins, and it was so, I was like, yeah, I finally won a tournament. Like I was trying to get a win. I finally got a win. That's my little happy moment. So for my last pre-release deck building, Sunday part 2, I did get no GX Pokemon. It was very sad. It was a very sad deck. And of course I didn't do well in this one because I didn't have any GX Pokemon, but my strategy was pretty cool. So it really based upon, well, for my pulls, I did get a reverse holo Crabominable, a reverse holo Tangle Growth, a reverse holo Script, a alternative art Cynthia and Caitlyn. My promo was Buzzwole, and then I also took Damaru as my reverse holo. So this was my strategy for this deck. What I did was I was trying to get a Deerling to evolve into Sawbuck, and then, you know, get out our Beware, and also have Kricketune. And these are like very low energy Pokemon, but we would not be adding energy on Beware, because essentially all we need is 3. And what would my strategy was, if I had this Pokemon, I would make sure I would curate my hand, because the specific features are dependent upon how many cards you're holding. So if you only have 1 card in your hand, this Pokemon can do 130 damage. If you have 3 cards in your hand, then your opponent would take 30 damage and be confused. And if you have exactly 6 cards in your hand, this Pokemon does 30 damage for each benched Pokemon, additional to the 30 that the attack initially gives. So based on how many cards you have in your hand, and maybe the scenario, this Kricketune can do a lot. But also, a good strategy I did was using Beware on my bench. The ability Carry and Run is, as long as this Pokemon is on my bench, the retreat cost is removed by 2. And this Pokemon not only has a 2 retreat cost, but its ability is to draw before turn and bounce. And bounce, it gives you 60 damage, and then I can switch my Pokemon after the attack. So essentially, what I would do is I could place a Pokemon up for defense or anything. Then what I would do is I would use this Pokemon's ability to take this out, bring Sawbuck out, use its ability to draw, then use 60 for bounce, and then I would switch back with the other Pokemon. So Sawbuck would be my great attacker, and Beware was my great switching around. And these cards over here were some of my trainer cards, but they worked so great. So for Rosa, as soon as your Pokemon gets knocked out, you could then use this trainer card. And what would happen is you could then get a Pokemon, a supporter trainer, and a basic energy, which would then help me. Maybe I would need this, which is Professor Oak setup, which you would then go into your deck. You get up to 3 basic Pokemon, and they have to be one of each different type, and then you put them on your bench. So let's say, for example, I didn't have my Deerling or my other basic Pokemons, I could then get those and put them out. And I did get a Lily's Pokédoll. And of course, it's like substitute, so that was pretty cool. And how I use Lily's full force is really, really rad. So around the end of my, let's say for example, I was definitely losing. Like I didn't get a prize card yet, and they knocked out my Pokemon. What I would do is I would use Rosa to get Lily's full force, and I would then use my drawing abilities and then Lily's full force to get additional 4 cards. And I would maybe have like 10 cards in my hand, and there would only be 3 cards in my deck. At the end of my turn, if I have more than 3 cards, I could take the rest of my hand, shuffle it into my deck, and draw 2. So essentially what I would be doing is pretty much picking up my deck, playing all the cards I can, and shuffling my deck back and getting 2 cards at the end of my turn. And that was the strategy for this deck. It was working well, but I was not getting like this sort of setup all the time, so I only won twice. And so with 5 packs of Cosmic Eclipse unopened, I'm now going to open that for you guys. And if you did like this video, give a like. If you like Pokemon content, please subscribe. And until then, I'll see you guys soon.